Now we're back in Massachusetts here.
Yes, now we're starting to see him get away from some of the trees.
There's some bad weather up there right now, I hear.
Yeah, it's funny. Someone says, "How come how come there's no snow on the ground?" Well, buffoon. To answer your question, buffoon. It wasn't taken during the winter.
You could have fooled
Einstein, Newton.
In the wintertime, there might be snow.
Yeah, in the wintertime, this area probably would have some snow on it. This is obviously not winter.
Does Mark Anders also do the weather? This is amazing.
Okay, we were talking before about shows that were the progenitor of shows like Finding Bigfoot and $1 Million Bigfoot Bounty. And there was a show called That's Incredible. Remember that show?
Certainly, I remember that show.
And they have
it's very popular.
If you really want to go back far enough, and there's probably shows that predated that even.
Absolutely, you just don't know what they are.
Well, there's the Mondo Cane or the Mondo series. That was movies.
Yeah, that wasn't a TV show.
And they were Italian produced. Italians, if you're familiar, had an incredible movie industry. They started with this. I don't know what they started with initially, but one of the things they had in the '50s was these sword and sandal movies with Steve Reeves, where it was Hercules versus whatever, that type of thing.
Well, most popular would have been the spaghetti westerns, right?
Then came along the spaghetti westerns, and some of the same directors were like Sergio Leone, who did the Clint Eastwood westerns, actually either assistant directed or wrote one of the Hercules movies. And a lot of them, did. They went back and forth. Then, when that genre died up, they went into spaghetti westerns, or they didn't call them.
What's coming out of Italy now that's very popular?
I don't know. I think I've seen some modern day giallo ones, horror type of ones.
I was going to say some horror stuff, right?
But just tracing the history of that. Then it was, so the westerns were there, and then they had something they called giallo, which was their form of horror. And then they had, crime ones, and they had the cannibal ones. They had a whole bunch of cannibal. People would go to the Amazon, but they also had. I keep forgetting that people don't include this, but they had these Mondo movies like Mondo Cane and Mondo Bizarro, or I don't know if they did that. But then everybody started doing the take. The Italians created all these, and everybody had their takeoffs on it. But
they seem to have a real interesting point of view with all their movies. A little bit different, a lot different than what you normally see.
Yeah, it's
a lot more interesting.
Interesting, and it seems strange. The Mondo Cane type of movies were just basically documentaries on strange things that happen in the world, like people setting themselves on fire, or people burying their, like in New Guinea or somewhere.
It's interesting you bring up people setting themselves on fire. Recently, there was a high school kid that set himself on fire in the cafeteria of a high school.
Was he during the filming of Mondo Cane?
Not during the filming of Mondo Cane, but it's interesting you bring that up. It's people setting themselves on fire. It happened recently.
Yes. Now
it's bizarre.
Now somebody could make a movie like that nowadays. Now there's things like, what was it called? The A Million Shades of Death. I forget. There were some
Faces of Death.
Faces of Death. On a DVD that had all these brutal footage.
There's a number of those.
Yeah. Now that is extremely Mondo. I've never actually seen that. I'm not sure they did that in the same style.
I don't think you want to see that. That's
but they did it so artistically. I can't remember the song that went with these Mondo Cane. There was a background song.
They have great songs
that really caught on, and I'll have to look that up real quick. The theme from Mondo Cane was a song called "More."
Well, come on, don't sing it. Let's hear a little
but anyway, no, you got to look it up. It's called. Just look up Mondo Cane. It's written by Riz or Ortolani and Nino Olivero, and Mondo Cane, if you want to know, means dog's world.
Well, that
in Italian.
That reminds me of...
let's save it for next episode. We're going way too... We're
really?
We're going long. We're up against a hard break on this radio talk show. Hard break. We got to go...
Breaking news?